Hey friend, good to have you back. I'm Ryan Frank from Kids Matter, and welcome to the KidMin Word. We've watched Peter and John this week walk toward the temple. They're keeping the same rhythm and routine that they've always kept. They walk by a lame man who's asking for the same thing he asked for every day his whole life, and that's just some money. And today something different happens, and it's really the hinge that the whole story turns on. Acts 3, 4, and 5 says that Peter directed his gaze at him, as John did, and said, "Look at us." And he fixed his attention on them, expecting to receive something from them. Now notice what Peter doesn't do. He doesn't toss a coin and keep walking. He doesn't hand him a $10 bill and keep walking. He stops right there in the busy temple courtyard. He looks and really looks at him. In fact, Luke uses a word for looks that is a very intense word. Later, that same word will be used when staring intently at the sky during the ascension. It's the same word at when the crowd is staring at Stephen's face. It's not a glance, right? It is a full, dead-on, I am giving you my attention. Peter says, "Look at us. Look right here," right? Not "here you go," not "sorry, I don't have any cash on me." Look at us. And before Peter gives this man anything, before there's the miracle, before there's a healing, he asks for his full attention. And he wants to be seen seeing him. And I think about this, as I was thinking about this week, I remember a time in our ministry when there was this preschooler that just wouldn't stop crying at drop-off. It happened every Sunday morning. Maybe you've got a kid like this. Everything was fine until mom let go and walked out the door. Her name was Grace. Grace's parents were going through a divorce. It was a rough time for this little kid. And what the routine was is that, you just hand her a little toy, try to hand her some trick, and she'll calm down and redirect. Well, one Sunday, Beth did something a little bit different. And Beth wasn't normally back in the room, but Beth did something. Instead of just handing her a toy, she did something different. She got down on the floor. She got right there on Grace's eye level. Didn't hand her a thing. Didn't hand her a piece of candy, a snack. She just said, "Hey, look at me for a second." No toy, no distraction, just an invitation to be looked at. And Grace looked up. Now, tears were still running down her cheeks, right? But Beth just stayed there, not rushing, not trying to fix the crying, just being present with her. Now, it took a little bit longer than the toy trick ever had. Took a little longer than maybe some goldfish crackers, but something in Grace had settled that hadn't settled before, because for the first time in a while, Grace was noticed. Somebody wasn't just trying to manage her. Somebody was seeing her. And that distinction matters more than we realize in kids ministry. Managing a kid and seeing a kid can look totally different, right? They're not the same. And I think that's what Peter is doing here. Peter isn't just trying to manage a situation at the temple gate. Before there's a miracle, there's attention. Before there's a healing, there's eye contact. Before this man's life changes forever, two ordinary men stop long enough to look him in the eye and let him know that he's been seen, not just noticed. I'll be honest, I don't always get this right. Plenty of Sundays, I've been the one with the toy in my hand, right? Because I'm moving fast, I'm solving problems. We're doing what we do in ministry. We've always got a million things to do. Ministry has logistics, and logistics matter. But I've had to relearn what Beth knew that Sunday years ago in that preschool room, and that is that sometimes the most important thing you can give a hurting kid isn't a solution. It's your undivided attention for as long as they need it, with no agenda attached. I wonder how many times we've been the volunteer with a toy, solving a moment quickly instead of actually seeing the kid in front of us. Now, quick fixes aren't always wrong, right? Sometimes a toy is really the thing that's needed, or some goldfish crackers. But Peter shows us that sometimes real ministry starts with slowing down long enough to say what he said in verse 4, "Look at us." before we ever offer what it is that we're going to give. Now, this man expected a coin. He expected some alms. But he got the full attention of two men who weren't in a hurry. So this week, look for somebody who's expecting a toy, a snack, a quick redirect, a quick answer, right? And be willing to look at them and stay. I'll see you back here tomorrow. And friend, tomorrow is where the story gets really good. We'll see you then.